by you. I'll be your everything, your blue sky. I go to war, fight. Damn right. Even when I've left, I do right.
Welcome back to the Professional Stepdad Show. I am your host, Franco Zavala. Thank you very much for joining me. This is episode 132 of the show. Today, I'm going to make a fun little video about the little things. So over the last few days, I've been receiving messages and a couple emails regarding day-to-day, like meaning questions being asked from step parents, both stepmoms and stepdads. What are some ideas? What are some routines, examples, maybe a book I could read, something that'll help with the day-to-day. And these questions are they're almost similar, even though they're asked differently, they're almost similar, meaning like, what are some things that they could be doing throughout their day, throughout their week, throughout their month that will assist in building those strong, unbreakable relationships with the kids, with their partner, with other family members, kind of getting to that point where everybody stops looking at you like some pariah, like some outside, like some outsider. Like that's how we all feel, right? Step parents, we all feel like an outsider in the beginning. Everybody looking at us, everybody's judging us, we're walking on eggshells. So we have to get to a point where we're developing these relationships within our family to kind of erase the doubt that others will have in us. And all of that really comes down to like, what are we doing day to day? What are the day-to-day things that we can be doing? And so as I sat and I answered a few of these questions, and I answered in the best way that I could possibly think of, I started to think about it more, and then I went back and resent them another message. And the message that I sent them was real simple. It is, do the small things. The little things matter. Meaning, you are going to get to a point within your blended family, and this I can promise you because I'm here. There are other step parents that have reached this point of, not acceptance, but like success. You are going to get to a point where everything is going to be running smoothly. It's going to be like a well-oiled machine. And when obstacles come up, you'll be able to handle them differently because you're doing it as a team as opposed to trying to do it separately. But when you're doing the day-to-day, the small things, the little things, first and foremost, the first thing you always want to do is this. You want to show up. Show up. Show up in places that they don't expect you to show up. Maybe your stepdaughter or stepson is with bio parent and they have a game this weekend. Show up. Be there. Be supportive. If you tell them that you're going to go to a movie or you're planning on doing some special event, like if you're doing the kids corner thing, like I suggested in past episodes, maybe it's their day. Make sure you show up. No excuses. Make sure that little thing you do, your day-to-day, the small things, make sure that there is nothing short of an emergency that will stop you from showing up. And I know that sounds almost just, what is the word that I'm looking for? It sounds elementary in a sense of like, it sounds real simple, but it's not. It's the hardest thing to do is not only to follow through with what you say you're going to do and to show up, but it's to not justify your excuses for why you could not show up. Remember, there are enough people in their life. There are enough people in your life that will justify their excuses and give you some bullshit reason why they couldn't show up or why they couldn't be there for you. And you don't want to be that with the kids. You don't want to be that with your partner. So when you're thinking about like the day-to-day activities that you can do, just remember the small things matter. Like show up, be there, follow through. Do something new every day that will assist you in developing better relationships within your blended family. No matter how successful you feel with your kids, let's say, the relationship that you're building with your kids, you're doing the right work, you're reading the love languages, you're really getting to that point where building trust and the communication is just, it's firing on all cylinders. it doesn't mean you stop and slow down. It means that you're consistently working on those relationships, and you're consistently working on them because you want them to grow. You want them to develop. But remember, the kids are going to change. You're going to change as a person. The person you are at 30 is not going to be the person you are at 40. And same with your kids. So you have to remember that the day-to-day has to be something new. It has to be the little things, something new. Listening, learning. Maybe it's a song of music, their favorite food, colors. I mean, you can make a list of things that you could do. But the day-to-day, the little things that will help develop those relationships will eventually add up over time. And then you'll find yourself in a position like myself and like other step parents who have really just been grinding for years, where you feel the acceptance, the value, and the love from all sides. So I don't want to give, step parents, I don't want to give you some long drawn out like routine or activity to do, because I believe that, what works for me won't necessarily work for you. I think that's one of the reasons I have such a hard time with people that sell products when it comes to step parenting. Why I have such a hard time. And what I mean is, I don't mean that people that sell products are bad. What I mean is, I want to make sure that the product that they're selling, or the class that they're selling, or the workshop that they're selling is so beneficial to you that you don't need to come back to them, right? It's a solve, and not just a patch or a Band-Aid. So when you're thinking about the daily routines that you need to be doing, I've said this 100 times, and please, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch the videos where I talk about the MIA stem and the things that you need to be doing every day for yourself first, then for you and your partner, then for the kids. And kind of break it down and reverse engineer the things that you need to do in order to come up with your day-to-day. Because remember, the little things I do and the day-to-day things that I do won't necessarily work for you, and vice versa. But what's the consistency between all step parents, the consistency between all parents and individuals who parent, the consistency and the thing that will always be universal is showing up, following through, keeping your promises, no excuses. The little things, the little day-to-day activities that you could be doing in order to better your relationships with yourself, with your partner, and with your kids. And that all comes down to making a list. That all comes down to writing it down. Maybe take a notebook out and each page is dedicated to a kid, and you write down like their 5 favorite things or the things that they do because you're paying attention, you're watching, and just start to study it and start to learn it. You want to make sure that you can be relatable. So when they do have a bad day, when they do want to share something that happened with them, that they feel comfortable enough to come and talk to you, stepdad, because you've shown them that you care by doing the little things every single day. And it's important that you don't pressure them, you don't push it, you don't force it. It takes time. The day-to-day might take you months. The little things might take you years. But eventually what will happen is collectively, through all the little things that you do, it will pile up and it'll get so heavy that it will finally break down the walls and the barriers that stand between you and the beautiful relationships that you can have with your kids and with your partner and with the other family members. I think it's one thing to say I'm an amazing stepdad. It's one thing to say that I'm a great parent and a great partner and I'm outward focused. It's easy to say all that. But what you say and what you do are, that's the one of the biggest separations in life, or the thing is between the things that you say and the things that you do. People like this. Maybe you are that person. You say you're going to do this and you say you're going to do that, and then you end up doing the opposite, or you end up doing less than you promised. Be the individual that actually does what they say. You ever heard that expression, it's a lot easier said than done? I think it's a lot easier done than said, because when you do things, you're taking action. And action, however big or small it is, it moves you progressively forward towards your goal. And you don't need to say much. Real individuals that are successful and that find themselves in a position of success in this world and no matter what field you're in, or no matter what you're doing, action is always better than words. Always. So it's a lot easier said than done. It's more like it's a lot easier done than said. Because you could say anything you want. You can tell everybody what you're going to do. You can promise the world. And then your actions will speak louder than those words. So remember, it's a lot easier done than said. So when you're thinking about the day-to-day, the daily routines for yourself, the day-to-day activities, what can you be doing day-to-day to build the relationships with your kids, to build a relationship with your partner, to get to a place for yourself where you're letting go of the past, all these little things. You got to remember, it all starts with you. It all starts with working on yourself. It all starts with what are you doing first for you to better you, so that as you come up with ideas for the kids or for your partner, you're approaching these ideas from a place of peace and growth, because you're working on yourself first, and you'll see that you're a changed person. So the day-to-day things, write them down. Keep it. I have these things right here. Check it out. These little Post-it notes. Right. Put them on your window. Remind yourself to follow through. Remind yourself to be accountable for your actions. Remind yourself that it's a lot easier done than said. And you will see over time, if you have patience, that those relationships will build. So you don't need some huge game plan. You don't need to, go to some 18 or 20 week course in order to, be the best step parent you can be. You just need to make sure that you're mastering your day-to-day. And remember, everybody's day-to-day is different. So master your day-to-day. And by mastering your day-to-day means taking care of the little things, making promises and then keeping them. And most important, show up. So, yeah. That's what I wanted to, those are the questions that were asked. Any advice you can give me for the day-to-day? That's the best advice I can give you. And if you do what I say, on your time and in the way it will work for you, I'm telling you, you'll see growth. It's like watering a seed in the ground. You can't just expect the rains to water the seed, right? You can't, especially here in Arizona. You can't just expect the rains to water the seed, because the possibility of growth is absolutely there because of the moisture of the rain, especially during monsoon season here. But you have to be watering that plant every single day to find growth, to see growth, to experience growth. You have to be doing it every single day. It cannot just be sporadically, once a month, once a week. It's got to be every single day. And it may not be the promises that you're keeping with your kids or your partner. Maybe it's just a promise you're keeping to yourself, stepdads. Because a lot of you are breaking the promises to yourself. A lot of you made promises. You set goals for yourself and you are failing at that. We're almost at the end of the year. Ask yourself, be honest. Did you accomplish everything that you set forth this year? If the answer is no, then what the fuck are you doing? You're setting examples. You're leading by example. You're the leader. So lead. Master your day-to-day. All right, guys, that is episode 132 of the show. Blessed, happy, grateful, thankful for each and every one of you, and I will talk to you soon. Be well. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. Listen, if you know a stepdad who is in need of any of this information, do me a favor right now. Hit that subscribe button and share this episode with them as fast as possible. Did you do it? Okay, you did it.
Quiet on the set, please. Thank you, everybody.